My boss tried to humiliate me, so I got him fired instead. Working at Sterling & Associates marketing firm seemed like a dream job when I started 2 years ago. Fresh out of college, eager to prove myself, ready to climb the corporate ladder, then I met my supervisor, Richard Blackwell, and realized I'd walked into a nightmare. Richard was everything wrong with corporate culture rolled into one perfectly pressed suit. He micromanaged everything, took credit for subordinates' work, and seemed to genuinely enjoy making people miserable. But he reserved his special brand of cruelty for me. It started small. Dismissed my ideas in meetings, giving me impossible deadlines, scheduling important calls during my lunch break. When I won a client presentation that landed us a $200,000 account, Richard presented it to the board as his own work. When I tried to speak up, he pulled me aside afterward. "Listen, kid, you're new here. You don't understand how things work. Keep your mouth shut, and maybe you'll learn something." The breaking point came 3 months ago during our quarterly review meeting. Richard had been setting me up for failure for weeks, assigning me to a client account that 3 senior employees had already failed with, then publicly criticizing my lack of progress in team meetings. In front of the entire department and 2 board members, Richard stood up and said, "I think we need to address the elephant in the room. Some people here aren't pulling their weight. Take Thompson here. He's been here 2 years and hasn't brought in a single major account. Maybe we hired the wrong person." The room went silent. I felt my face burning with humiliation as 20 colleagues stared at me. One of the board members was writing notes. I knew this was Richard's attempt to get me fired. But instead of defending myself or getting angry, I did something unexpected. I smiled. "You're absolutely right, Richard. I haven't been transparent enough about my contributions. I think everyone deserves to know the full picture." I pulled out my laptop and connected it to the conference room projector. Richard's face went pale. He had no idea what I was about to show. "This is my personal client portfolio," I began, clicking through a detailed presentation I'd been preparing for months. The Henderson Industries account, $200,000. The Morrison Foundation campaign, $150,000. The tech startup series I developed brought in $300,000 total. Murmurs started around the room. These were all accounts Richard had claimed credit for in previous meetings. And here are the original email chains, timestamps included, showing my initial client contact, proposal development, and presentation materials for each account. I've kept detailed records of all my work since starting here. Richard tried to interrupt. "Thompson, this is highly inappropriate." I'm not finished. My voice was steady, professional. "I've also documented 17 instances of project interference, including email evidence of instructions to withhold information from clients and delay deliverables on the Morrison account, which directly contradicts company policy and client agreements." The board members were leaning forward now, taking extensive notes. Our department head, Patricia, looked shocked. "Finally, here are recordings of 3 separate conversations where I was explicitly told to remain silent about my contributions, while others received recognition and bonuses from my work." Richard was sweating now. "You can't record people without consent. Actually, in this state, single-party consent laws allow me to record conversations I'm a part of. And as you can see from this handbook excerpt, our company policy encourages documentation of workplace disputes." I clicked to my final slide. "My contributions over the past 2 years total $847,000 in new business, making me the 3rd highest revenue generator in this department. I'm requesting that my work be properly attributed and that we review the management practices that led to the situation." The room was dead silent for about 10 seconds. Then Patricia spoke up. "Richard, I think we need to have a conversation in private. Thompson, please email me all of this documentation immediately." Richard was fired the following Friday after a company investigation revealed not just his treatment of me, but a pattern of similar behavior with other employees, some of whom came forward after hearing about my presentation. I was promoted to senior account manager with a $20,000 raise and given oversight of Richard's former client portfolio. 3 junior employees who had been suffering under Richard's management were also promoted or transferred to better positions. But the best part? Richard's wife worked in HR at our biggest competitor. When word got around about why he was fired, she was mortified. She filed for separation within a month, and Richard's already slim tub prospects in our city's tight-knit marketing community completely dried up. Last I heard, he moved to another state and took a job making half his previous salary at a small firm that probably hasn't figured out what kind of manager he really is. Meanwhile, I just got engaged to Patricia's daughter, who I met at the company holiday party. Turns out, she'd been hearing stories about the brilliant young guy who finally stood up to Richard for months before we were introduced. Sometimes the best revenge is simply telling the truth at the right moment with the right documentation.